We worship the Lord not only as we sing songs, but also as we come before Him in prayer. Not only as we sing songs that are true, that remind us of God's character and the wonder that we have for what He has done, but also as we bear our hearts to Him, as we bring our concerns and our fears. And I'm so grateful for the number of you who have shared the ways we can be praying for you. The fact that we can come around these concerns and requests to stay connected and mindful of what's going on in each other's lives is so important. So I encourage you, please go to graystonepc.org/connect and let us know how we can be praying for you so that we can continue to be with you in these times where we're separated. The thing that I love about prayer is that even in the messiness of our lives, we can bring to the Lord the mess that we have. Even when we feel like we don't have the words to articulate how we're feeling or what's going on inside of us, that we can come to Him in prayer and simply just leave it there. This week earlier, I was feeling kind of discouraged, and I just took a drive and went out to Yellow Creek, the park near the water, and I just spent some time sitting in the car. It was raining, and just being there with God. I spent some time reading. I had some conversations with people I care about, and just spent some time with the Lord. And sometimes in those messy places where we have feelings and emotions that we don't know how to handle, coming to God in prayer is a chance for us to simply give it to Him, to get it out, and to simply sit and allow Him to speak important truths, important realities that we need to hear and to understand. Moments where we can see Him in the stillness and in the wonder as He brings His encouragement from His word to our hearts. And so I encourage you in this time of prayer to bring what you have, to bring who you are, and to be honest. Over the week, I read the book of Titus, and in Titus chapter 3, he goes through a series of different ways that we're supposed to be led, some things that are easy on our hearts, ways that he was encouraging Paul was telling Titus on what he needed to be thinking through. And tonight we're going to be having our prayer meeting again at 6 o'clock. It'll be over Zoom, and you can find information on how to log in at graystonepc.org. So I encourage you to join us for prayer, because I'm actually going to be leading prayer this evening. Specifically, we're going to be going through Titus 3 as a lens to guide us in how we pray, how it leads us to confess, how it leads us in thanksgiving for what God has done, how we pray for others among us. And in the very beginning of Titus 3, it encourages us to care for and obey the leaders that he's put in front of us. And so this morning, I want us to take a moment to pray for the leaders that God has given us. We're encouraged to pray not just for those leaders that God has ordained for us, like the leaders in the church, our elders and pastors, but also for the leaders that he's given us in the government. And over the last couple weeks, you've probably had reason to be a little grumpy with some of the leaders of the government in some capacity. In Pennsylvania, we have a Democratic governor. In the United States, we have a Republican president. So odds are you're probably not happy with someone. And the reality is that we are called not only to submit to our leaders and to the authority that God has given them, but also to pray for them. And so that doesn't mean that we step out of the political arena or blatantly just agree blindly with everything that people say, but the way that we interact with those leaders, the way that we carry our hearts around them as followers of Jesus looks different. So I want to invite you to pause the video for a moment, to take a moment to pray, to choose one of the leaders, whether it's someone in our local community, whether it's someone on the state level or someone on the national level, to pray for them, to lift them to the Lord, to pray for wisdom for them, to pray that God would prosper them, that they would know his heart and see him and for what he cares about, and that maybe you have some things that you need to confess, some attitudes or words that you have used about some of these leaders, to admit that maybe it was wrong, and to acknowledge before God that you need to submit to them and to love them and to give even that to God. It's not an easy thing to do, but as followers of Jesus, we're called to lift these people in prayer. So go ahead and pause the video, take a moment to stop, choose one of these leaders, to give them to the Lord, to be honest with who you are in that, and to just give it to him and see what he can do. I'll be here when you get back. Giving these things to the Lord is challenging. But I love that we can give God the reality of who we are, that he is bigger than that. And because he is good, we become convicted of the ways we have sinned. And because he is merciful, we can find hope because of what he has done in Jesus. So as we give these things to the Lord in prayer, we come to him to find forgiveness, to find direction, and to find hope. So let's continue in song as we worship the Lord because of the ways that he has moved among us and the ways that we find our hope in him. Let's go to the Lord in worship.